Hey guys! Okay, so last week I had some times where I was just really in my feels and sadness, so I took the liberty of taking out my phone and filming it. It's very scattered. I'm only going to show you a snippet, but I think it's perfect for what we're talking about today, which is, have you guys ever heard of the saying, three's a crowd? Well, in three people, there's always one person that's left out. And for some reason, seems like in every friend group, that ends up always being me. I remember this is like a thing for forever. I've always had a group of 3 friends. I would always feel left out. And I don't know if it's me, because part of me thinks that maybe I already feel like an outsider. So that's the energy that I bring in. I don't know, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it sucks being the third of the trio, you know? I don't know, I just had to turn on the camera. I'm not really scripting anything. It's just me thinking right now, but I can't figure it out. And lately I've just been so in the dumps about a lot of things, and this seems to be the thing that triggers me the most, and I'm not sure why. As we know, going to therapy, trying to work on myself, it's like my emotions get the best of me very often, more often than not. And it's really hard for me when it feels like my friends are closer to each other. It makes me think about me. It makes me think that I'm not really needed. And that's okay. People don't need to need me. Do I want to be needed or loved? Maybe they don't love me. But it's difficult because all I've ever wanted is to be loved, but also I'm so independent. It's difficult to love me. I know that. And I'm annoying, honestly. I'm super annoying. And I get it why people won't want to be around me, but it's like so difficult when my friends don't want to hang out with me. But I don't know if that's true. It feels that way a lot. I know I've not been the best person recently. Honestly, I'm a shitty friend. I know that. Why can I expect other people to love someone like me? And it's weird because nobody said these things. It's just me spiraling right now. I'm just kind of frustrated with myself and like people, and I just don't know how to deal, and so I turned on the camera. I'm just sad, quite honestly. I'm sad a lot, and like recently a lot. Okay, so we have to stop there because if I let myself talk, this video goes on for like 30 minutes, so we're not gonna do that today. But there's just so much wrong with what I was saying. And at the time, I was just kind of saying out loud exactly the thoughts that go into my mind all the time. But the whole time that I went back and listened to it, I noticed all of these statements are so all or nothing, and no one likes me, and I'm blah, blah, blah. You know, all this bullshit that is so untrue. I know that these are unhelpful thinking patterns. Like, I know this, but yet they continue to bombard my mind at all times. And I think the constant belief of these unhelpful thoughts are the reason why I believe it. Because if my brain tells me enough, I just think of it as truth. But the thing is, all of these things that I say, no one loves me, no one cares about me, can easily be disproven by evidence. And I feel like that's my issue. I don't even look at both sides of the argument inside of my head as equal. See, there's one side of me, the good side, that's telling me, dude, you're great. You're an amazing person to be around. Like, who wouldn't want to be your friend? Like, you're awesome. And then the louder, the more persistent side of me says, what do you mean you're great? You're really not. People are always leaving you. Nobody actually likes you. Like, just try harder or just be different. Don't be yourself. And overall, you suck, others suck, everything sucks. And that negative, dramatic loop in my head is so much louder than the nice, soft-spoken, you're great voice. I think that's what makes it so hard for me to truly believe that I'm wanted or loved. The loud, anxious child inside of me just wants all the attention right now and wants no one to be friends with anybody else. And even though the now adult me knows that these things are irrational, the child screams so loud inside, it's easier just to let the child just cry it out. And maybe that's what she needs, but I don't let the child really cry out. Instead, I fight with the child. I try to convince her she's fine, even though there's no way to convince her, and tell her to stop thinking through these awful negative patterns. But the child doesn't really understand. The child inside of me doesn't get it, and she doesn't know how to stop crying for help. But you know what I realized? At some point, I get so frustrated with myself that I just let the child become who I am, even though I'm an adult. I'm an adult. adults. The child inside of me needs to be soothed and comforted, yes, but when they think about irrational thoughts and go into negative spirals, you have to stop them too. So I'm having issues with that. When do you soothe? When do you tell them, no, this is not truth? So anyway, my therapist actually gave me a mantra to follow this week, which is no matter what anyone else says or does, you are okay, you are loved, you are intelligent, you are attractive, you are whatever vocabulary or adjective you want to use at the end, do it. But I found myself this past week, whenever I started to get anxious about other people's thoughts and like what other people were doing, I was like, you know what? No matter what anybody else says or does, I'm okay. At first, I really thought this was stupid to have a mantra, like I don't actually like believe it, so why should I say it? But then I realized I think that I feel like it's stupid to even like myself. Like I will start by saying, oh, you're great, like positive things about myself. And then I think, well, if you want to be humble, you shouldn't think those things. You shouldn't think you're great. You shouldn't think amazing things about yourself because that means that you're not humble. And for some reason, I feel like if I think good about myself, then somebody on the street will be like, oh my gosh, well, she's thinking good about herself, but she's really not that great. So like, she shouldn't be thinking that way. As if they judge me or ridicule me for thinking about myself as like a good person or whatever. And that's the thing. I've taught myself that it doesn't matter what other people think. So like, I've even made a whole video about it, but still it comes back in my life as if I love myself, then it's bad. And that's just how it is. As if they judge me or ridicule me in my head. But if that's the case, it's their own issue. Like seriously, why am I sitting here worried about someone else? I don't need to be included in their issues. I already have enough things to deal with in my life. I don't need to deal with somebody else. No matter if your best friend leaves you, your boyfriend breaks up with you, you are going to be okay. Other people's actions really don't affect if you're loved. And I don't know how to convince myself or anybody else about that. We have to come to that conclusion for ourselves. But what helped me is through therapy, we started to explore evidence-based things. Like whenever I have an issue, I'm feeling neglected because of this action. Well, what does that mean for me? That means that I'm not good enough to be in part of this group. And I'm just not good enough. But is that the truth? What's the evidence for these things? Evidence for I'm not wanted, all of these things. They don't exist. What's the actual evidence for the actual truth? There are plenty of people that have showed me that they want me around and all these things. We just don't like to see it. I've noticed that I've placed metrics on how to determine if someone loves me or not. Like if they text me back, or if they remember things on my birthday, or stuff that just don't matter. Superficial things that I place as metrics of a friendship or relationship. But in reality, just like thinking about a text as something that we need to have in order to be loved, it's just setting ourselves up for failure because nobody shows love through a text. Nobody shows love through doing something special on your birthday. They might do those things for you, but in reality, you're building it up on your head and setting these expectations for people. But in reality, I feel like they're actually hurting me because when I place these metrics, they're kind of like a false narrative of like, okay, if I get X amount of people to be my friend, then that means that I am lovable and I'm wanted around and all of these things. But in truth, that reality never comes. No matter how many text messages you get, you will always still pine for the next one. And I'm tired. I'm honestly so tired of looking for these things in other people. I think it's time that I look for it in myself. Love myself enough to know that, okay, well, I'm gonna send a text. If they don't respond, it literally means nothing to do with me. It's just that maybe they forgot to text me back or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be that deep. It's not that deep. Okay, so back to feeling left out. I noticed myself feeling left out a lot in situations. Of course, it's nobody's fault. I was studying for the CPA exams and stuff, which that's another story I'm gonna come back to in another video. But maybe if I already felt left out before I even got into the situation, I was already putting that aura out there or that energy where I'm feeling left out, so I'm just gonna be quiet and let people talk to me. But that's not really how conversations work. And I need to be putting myself out there too. So I'm now trying to work on coming into every situation as content. Not mad, not happy, not sad, not scared, just content. And it's so hard to remember, but like there's no other way for me to feel better other than just taking every situation for exactly what it is. And in general, it's hard to have conversations with 3 people. They just don't work as well. You end up talking to one person anyway. So it's not my fault if I feel left out anyway. It's just I need to take it as, okay, if I feel left out, if I feel like a third wheel, I have 2 options. I can insert myself in this conversation or I can just leave. It's not that deep. So knowing this information, and even if I feel left out, I want to work on building one-on-one relationships rather than finding a group of relationships, because it's just so much easier to get to know people on a deeper level when it's communicating one-on-one. But even if I do come across a situation where it's 3 people, as long as I know that it's not possible for 3 people to have a conversation, and I know that, okay, I just have to insert myself into this conversation. I can't sit back and expect other people to do that for me. Anyway, I hope this made sense. I don't know that it did. I know I went into this really weird place where it talked more about mental health stuff, but I feel like for me, I often don't even feel left out because anybody else is making me feel left out. I feel left out because I'm just not in a good mood, and it just comes out that way. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was a little scattered, and I've honestly been like in a really weird scattered place lately, so it makes very much sense why this video came out this week. If anybody else is feeling like me and feeling social anxiety and stuff, I just feel like it has a lot to do with my mental health than it does about anybody else. Anybody else can do whatever they want, but it has nothing to do with who you are and the fact that you are loved and you are cherished. And if anything, you're cherished and loved by me for watching this entire video. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys, and subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram, all of that stuff, and I will see you guys next week. I'm trying to post every week now. Trying. It's hard. I work full time. Okay. Bye guys. If someone knowing me watched this, and I'm sure they'll be like, Ipsita, no, people like you. But doesn't really feel like it, quite honestly. And I don't know why I go into these stupid fucking spirals where I convince myself that I have no friends, because that's not the case. There are plenty of people who like me. It's